Happy Friday. That's what it is. It's Friday. I almost said happy Thursday, but it's happy Friday. Hello, hello. It's Captain Coder, and I'm back. I'm back. I think we may have resolved the internet problems we were having. But hello and welcome. Thank you so much for being here, Mooniz. Everybody else, it is a happy Friday, and we are working on Adventure Quests. Adventure Quest is a text-based RPG, which is based on tabletop dice rolling fun and goodness, right? So essentially it's a text-based game, but I'm using Unity to render it, to take it and draw it and make it look a little bit nicer. I'm gonna say a little bit nicer because I'm no artiste. I'm not a user experience designer. I'm a programmer, not a user interfaceologist. All right. So my focus here is how can we write programs? How we can learn how to program the components of a text-based RPG. Smab, my friend, so nice to see you. So nice to see you. Yeah, bitrate's looking good today. It looks very, very stable, so I'm very, very happy with that. No drop frames so far, no drop frames. We're gonna hope to keep it that way. Had a technician out yesterday. They seem to have fixed the issue. They gave me a new modem. It looked like the modem that I had that had been sent was actually was busted. What RPG did Nintendo just release? No, I don't think I've seen it. What's it called? Let's check it out here. Let's see. I thought I had... There it is. Nintendo RPG. Let's see. Guess I should always... see. Let's see here. Oh, Colossal Cave. I heard about this. I did not see this. I heard about this. This. Okay. All right. Nintendo. Here, let me pull it up over here and then I'll drag it across. One sec. Yeah. I heard it did not get the best reviews. Is it actually out? Rave, good morning, my friend. Happy Friday. Core, happy Friday. The internet's hopefully no buffering. Yeah, we got Roberta Williams. Cool. So Roberta Williams and Ken Williams were sort of the founders and creators of a software company that did a lot of games back in late 80s, early 90s. Sierra. Some of my favorite games. Space Quest is actually one of my favorite games by Scott Murphy and Mark Crow, I believe. But they worked there. Looks like so. There's a remake of Colossal Cave. I'm gonna have to check this out. Thank you so much for reminding me. I had heard about it a while back, but I definitely haven't seen it yet. I haven't even seen the trailer. I just heard about it. So I'm like, oh, that sounds interesting. Colossal Cave was a text-based adventure, one of the original text-based adventures. I don't know if original, but one of the oldest text-based adventures. But yeah, welcome. Thank you so much for sharing that, Smab. For being so helpful. Here's 100 points for you. Thank you so much. All right. Thank you for sharing that. What are we gonna try and get done today? What are we trying to do today? That's a question. Oh yeah, I got my little I forgot. I have a ticker going. Down at the bottom. Yesterday, combat's close to working. Fully working is such a loaded term. We can do a combat. There's no end. So attack works. We can attack the Dark Knight. We can defend, which actually boosts our defense. If we click inventory, we actually use a potion. We drink a potion, but it doesn't open up the inventory. So today I think we're going to be working on getting the inventory. We can also try and run, and we can escape back to town. So So we've made lots and lots of progress on this combat system. Working as anticipated, exactly. So there's lots of things actually happening and working here. Are those things fully functional? You know, as Data from Star Trek might say, fully functional. Well, you know, not so much. Not so much. They work. They're getting there. Let's say we're getting there. We also don't generate random enemies yet either. Core says, I got my internship reviewed by my supervisor, was said good progress with good advice for the next step too. Awesome. Awesome. Good to hear, Core. Gonna get some sleep earlier. Smab, all of my software works as anticipated. I just never anticipate it to work. Ooh, I like that. I like that. Works as anticipated. I just didn't anticipate it to work. So sure, it's working as anticipated. Good. All right, we're gonna do a sign on here. We are gonna do a sign on. Popping over to my Discord here. We're gonna do a sign on today. There's a way to hide that. There we go. I can hide the members list like that. So, what are we doing today? Sign on. Our primary goal is still to implement a combat system. We've made a lot of good work. So today, though, all right. So today's my double day. So I definitely, when I say my double day, today I teach 2 classes back to back. Fridays are my quote unquote long days. I don't know if that's actually true. That actually ends earlier than most of my days. But I normally don't teach classes back to back, one right after another. So on Fridays, I definitely have to stop on time. So it's really important to plan well on Fridays for me. So what are we gonna plan? I would like to get this inventory thing working. So I have items that can be used in combat, right? What I want to do is I want to make it so that when I click the inventory button, the player's inventory gets displayed. Good sign on, Smabs. Everyone else, if you're working during this time, I always encourage you to do a sign on. Smab, I'm excited to see how you the rest of your Q list stuff. All right, so my main goal here, on click inventory in combat, show players inventory. All right, so on click, we're gonna show it. And then the second thing we got to do, if we can get that to work, we have to sort of show the usables. All right, so show usable items in players inventory. On click usable item, use the item. All right. I think this might be way too much. It might be way too much. It also might, I often go, oh, well, it turns out I built all this stuff already, so it's not so bad. But these are our goals today. I don't know if I'm going to have much of a bonus, but my bonus is going to be, so right now the items you use them, it's basically uses just on you, the player. So we might want to add some kind of item you can use on the enemy as well. So targeted. Explore how to create target items that can be thrown or used on enemy. Okay, here's my sign on. That's what we're going for. That's interesting. Good. So for anyone that doesn't know, Q-List, a great game. Great game. I'm gonna show it here on screen real quick. Let's get my document cam up. Document cam. Oh, if we can. Oh, I upgraded OBS, so it looks like maybe my document cam isn't gonna work for us here. 1 second. Stand by. We're going for some stuff. I hope you can still hear me. Come on, document camera. I believe in you. Nope, that's not it. Oh, it's like not connected. Hang on. All right, maybe we have no document cam today. Let's see if we can adjust and fix. I don't think I can do it. Well, OBS run. No document cam today. Bummer, bummer. Next time I'll get that fixed. Or is it on? Hang on. We'll try one more time. Document camera. There we go. Document camera's plugged in. We can do it. Okay. So we'll put the document cam on in the middle here. Qless is this awesome game. Highly, highly recommend it. If you like word games, this game is awesome. Smab's been turning this into a really, really nice console-based game. So you take your dice, you roll them, and then it basically Scrabble rules. You have to put all these letters together. They all have to be connected in some way or another, but you build words. So let's see if we can do a little bit here. It usually takes about 15 minutes, so I'm not gonna do the whole thing on stream. But you might do loan. I don't like this one because they're too close together. We got an extra I, loner. And then we could do I. What do we do with the I here? D. Donk. Doi. Dow. Can't quite write. Do. All right. So, but the idea is you got to use up all of your letters, and they all have to be touching in a grid like this. So you roll. Really, really great game. I love it. Fabulous word game. Smab's been working on a console-based version in C# that is just fabulous. Fabulous. So I'm really, really looking forward to seeing your finished one, Smab. Really cool game. Not a sponsor by any means. No one sponsors me, but absolutely awesome game. Highly recommend it. I think it's like $10. $10 if you want to get yourself a copy of it. Absolutely do it. Support it. Let's see. Qless. Let's see, how much does it cost? Oh, not Qless game. Apparently Qless game. Crossword solitaire. What a fun game. I'm so happy to have found it. There's an app for it now too. $15. Totally worth it. Hours and hours of entertainment for $15. You spend more than that to go to the movies. You spend more than that to have a month of Netflix, probably. All right, so check out Qless. Awesome stuff. I love it. Okay. Oh yeah, we're gonna update. Hang on, we are gonna update my scroller. I have a. We're gonna give it a shot. So I have the ticker at the bottom here. It's supposedly, if I do this, it should automatically add that to the end. We're gonna give it a shot here. I tested it out a little bit. We're gonna see if that shows up there at the bottom, ticking across. Just don't know if I'm going to do depth first search or breadth first search. Both are pretty good for this. Yeah. All right, come on, update. Maybe it's not gonna update. Well, that's disappointing. Hang on. Give me a second here. I thought it was set to auto update. Stand by. All right, well, hopefully it's on there this time. I'm not gonna stick around and wait for it to come through, but we'll see. A good morning, Captain Coder from TOS Studios. Have an awesome Friday coding. Thank you so much. Happy Friday, and welcome aboard. Okay, so let's hop in here, get some coding done. Where am I clicking? We were gonna try. Oh yeah, we want to get this inventory button to open up the user's inventory. So we're gonna add in an inventory prefab. We've created a prefab here for our inventories. So we have a character inventory that we're gonna add to our canvas. All right, so we got a character inventory we're gonna add to our canvas. So you click inventory, this will pop up. And it's gonna be attached to our player character here. So if we've implemented this well, we have an observable player, our inventory is attached to it, and Is it this one? It might be our character renderer down here. We might need to attach the character renderer. So I violated a little bit of my own principles, it sort of looks like. All right, so we got our player controller. And we actually want to register the character renderer. Is that what it is? Let's see if this will get the character's inventory to show up real quick. Did not. Oh, I probably didn't. Character renderer, hang on. Is it on inventory? Maybe it's this one. Maybe it is this one. All right. Let's try again. Go to our enemy controller. No, a player controller. Our observable character, we set the character. Let's try that. There we go. All right, so we've put it in place. Okay, that's nice. That's nice. It's going to be relatively easy to get the inventory to display because I've created this prefab that I just sort of attached there. So that was really easy. Bring my character in, attach it, and then hopefully, so my character inventory here has this character inventory controller, which I believe, let's go look at it, has some events we can register on. Is that right? Has enters, or is it the character? Is it this piece here? This one has, yeah. So the internal here has on select. Probably need to add a delegate of this to the top level one since it's a prefab. I often like to treat it using like a class, using encapsulation and tracking. So the way I feel about prefabs is for the most part, you should only interact with them from the top level, from a programmatic standpoint. I think of the top level element as the API. You might need to modify the internals to add like a button or change it a little bit as far as colors or that goes. But as far as like interacting with it from an API standpoint, I think it's good practice to try and follow encapsulation for your prefabs as well. But I'm not going to worry too much about that right now. Just wanted to note here that I don't like that I have to access the internal chunk here. I would like to be able to access everything from the outside. But let's attach this to the inventory button. Okay, so this is gonna start hidden. Wonder if that's gonna cause issues because of the notifications. Because we did see an issue where we had to, rather than doing on awake, it was sort of, we needed to make some things lazy. Let's see, if I make this invisible, or not invisible, but don't activate it. Oh, we didn't get any. All right, so good. All right, now let's make it so that the combat button, where's our button? Where are you? Inventory button. You're part of the menu, inventory button. Rather than combat using a thing, we are going to make our inventory active. All right, so we click inventory, that's going to activate our inventory. So we get our inventory and then we can sort of select an item. I don't like that that didn't render. And again, I think this has to do with it being not active at start. So there's a mild, so if it's not active at start, it doesn't send that message to it. Interesting. All right, so let's take a look at our character here, or our character inventory. I bet I need to be setting the observed. All right, let's edit this script, not observable character. Specifically, observable character has this character Set is setting the observed. Okay. And then the inventory internally should be sort of registered. All right, so let's look at the inventory. What is propagating that down to us? Something's propagating it down. Character inventory controller. Then the actual inventory has a renderer on it. Yes. Okay, so the renderer is the piece that should be rendering it. And yeah, so when we wake up, this is what I think the issue is. We don't want to do it just so awake isn't called until you're enabled. And so these will not be set yet when render is called. And I think that is causing an issue. Another option would be that we could make it so when it wakes up, it will check the observed component of this. Interesting. How do I go about? Yeah, so the rendering is when this whole thing gets sent through here. What is default controller? Oh, that's interesting. Oh, we add it there. Right, so the default controller doesn't have one here. What about canvas? Well, that shouldn't matter. Okay. When we click inventory, it should pop up. Inventory is setting it to active, this chunk to active. When this thing wakes up, it should render the things inside of it. All right, so it should sort of invoke. All right, so when this wakes up, it's going to find the character render, add itself to it, but it also needs to, the very first time it wakes up, it should render itself. So it should actually call the renderer. Character render. So this is what's missing. We need to render the character that we're observing, assuming that we have one. So if the character observed is not null, we go ahead and say, okay, well, the first time this thing wakes up, make sure you render that. I think that is what we're missing here. Let's give it a shot. And no. Interesting. What's going on? Is it there's also this inventory render that needs to get rendered. That's the piece that's not getting rendered. Which is fascinating to me. Do I need to also get my, oh, inventory render? Here it is. Oh, I need to do both. I need to do both. My inventory render also needs to render. There we go. I think. I always say there we go, and then not always. There we go. All right, so we see the inventory. Something I think. All right, so what interaction should we have here? So I click inventory, that opens up this dialog. I kind of want to, if you click away from, so it should sort of be a modal, right? So the word modal just means, I don't know what it means actually. I know how it's used. Modal means that I shouldn't be able to select anything else when this is turned on. So I kind of want to make it so that if we click away from it, if you try and click on anything, it won't let you. And instead, when you click away, it'll close it. So I think in addition to my inventory popping up like this, I want my inventory to be attached to a modal. And I've never done this, so we're gonna see if we can add a modal here. So I'm gonna add in a new parent game object to this called inventory modal. All right, so inventory modal is gonna essentially take up the entire screen, have the character inventory centered on it, like this. All right, so the character inventory modal, and this is gonna have sort of an image on it that is transparent. So this will block interactions with everything behind it. But we're gonna add a little click thing to it that will cause it to, when you click this, it'll trigger that it should close. It should disable the inventory. So let's see if that works. If I bring up this modal, the one thing I gotta switch here is I shouldn't actually activate my character inventory now. My modal itself is the thing that gets disabled. And when I click the inventory button, rather than enabling the inventory game object, I want to enable this inventory modal. And I believe this is going to block my inputs to everything behind it, but we'll find out in a second. And if it doesn't, we're going to have to figure out why. So click inventory. Yeah, so now I can't actually click on anything behind there, but I can still interact with this because it's on top. It gets rendered on top. So we're going to add a little listener. We're going to add a button listener that says when we click off of this, go ahead and close that menu. Okay, so our inventory modal is going to have a event trigger, and the event is that if we click on it, then we're going to go ahead and disable the modal. So we'll set it active to false. Okay, so we should be able to enable our inventory. Oh, so that's interesting. If I click on things here, if I click on anything in the inventory, it disables it as well. That's interesting. That's interesting. So I think I want to make it, I need to make this box here, this inventory box block the clicks. So we click on anywhere on the inventory, I don't necessarily want to, when we click on items, that's going to trigger selecting that particular item to use. So let's see if we can, the image on this, interestingly enough, doesn't, I thought this would actually capture our events, and it doesn't, which is interesting to me. Interesting. All right, I'm not. If I were to add in a event trigger here, would that consume that ahead of it? That's a good question. I don't think it is, but let's take a look. I don't think it is, but that's a good point. So we're gonna check here. We're gonna make it darker. So it isn't in front of it. So the modal, so it might make sense to add a little bit of a, when you click that, it darkens everything else. That kind of makes sense. I'm just surprised. It's just not the behavior I expected. It's probably the built-in behavior. What's interesting is when I click on this, it doesn't go through. But if I click here, I think that's registering on the inventory modal. I'm just surprised by it. And so I was wondering if I were to add in to this an event trigger. Does it consume it? Yeah. So it's because the parent doesn't consume that event. It just sort of forwards it through. I think that's the default behavior. If I get rid of this click, does it still work? Yeah. So I need to make it so that way our inventory image here, this image here, sort of consumes that event. Event trigger is just a quick, so if we want to take a look at our event trigger is the same as implementing, where is it? It's the same as putting all of these on your object, on the mono behavior. So essentially it's overriding the canvas's behavior for each one of those things. That makes it like nice and easy in the interface to be able to drag and stuff in. So you don't have to write a code for it. So if you have a very simple event for one of your handlers, and we just want to deal with the menu, if you don't have to write any code, this makes you don't have to write code to do it. I don't know if you've used these. These are sort of the UI canvas equivalents of the on mouse behaviors, but these are they're called eye pointers when you're dealing with the canvas. All right. So I'm pretty sure, let me remove this now. Yeah, so all I got to do is in my character inventory, I'm going to add in that I have an event trigger, and so it's just going to consume that event now. So now that I have that modal, it'll block this. The inventory now blocks that modal. I do like that though. I think having that little dark layer show up actually makes it a little bit telling of like, oh, I can't interact with the things over here now. All right. That wasn't too hard. That wasn't too bad. We got a nice little modal here. Yeah, it's just a convenience. It's a convenience if you don't want to have to write code for it. If your event is simple enough, like, oh, I just want to set something active when I click a thing, or I want to trigger something else. It's nice that you don't have to write the code for it. Okay, so we have our inventory modal. That's pretty sweet. That's pretty sweet. So we managed to get, let's see, in our to-dos, how was this one? This is done. How do I do strike through an HTML? I know I can do strike through an HTML. Let's go here. Let's take a look. HTML strike through text. S. All right, so I should be able to strike through. Let's try that. I think my ticker will render it as stricken through. Let's see if it reloads here. I'm watching my server. Come on. Do it. Do it for me. Refresh. It's not gonna refresh. I don't know why it's not refreshing. That's frustrating. I thought I had that set up. All right, there we go. Force a refresh. All right, but we finished this here, so nice. Okay, so the next thing, show usable items in player's inventory. So now we want to only show the usable items, or make it so that way, you know, when it only lets you highlight the usable items. Let's try that. Okay. Part 1 done. I'm happy with that. I'm happy we built that in a way that was easy to get to. First off, I need to actually give the user a potion to use. So we are going to go to our player character controller. We're going to tell it to reinitialize when it loads up. This is a nice little convenience that I added. So I have my character controller. All right. So this little checkbox here that I've added is just for me to be able to like hack things into my character when the scene loads. All right. So we're going to reinitialize this, and our character here. I'd be happy to share it. It's a little hacky. It's a little hacky. I should put it on a repo though. I'll create a repo for my overlays. It's pretty straightforward. There's an HTML, a JavaScript, and a CSS file. And in some ways, stolen is not the right word, but used from the internet. The ticker itself is for the CSS. I just found. I did a quick Google for scrolling text CSS, and then put that in there, and then the script. I'd be happy to share it though. Moon is, if you put that in my Discord server, I'll remember to do it. It's not in a repo yet, but I'll add it in there. I'd be happy to share it. Bob's manifest. No. All right, we're gonna update our player's inventory. We're gonna give them. All right, so this is our observed. So this is our I character player here. And our player dot inventory dot add. We're gonna give them an item. Did I make a potion item? I think I did. New health potion. So we're gonna give them a health potion. Let's give them, yeah, just a health potion. All right, so let's test it out real quick. So we should get a health potion now. Supposedly. Character control has the same built-in name. I know, I should rename that. All right, we reinitialize our character. Go to the inventory. All right, so our character has a health potion now. So what we want to do is when we click on it, do they just use it, or do they have to confirm? Probably need to make it like a confirm thing. For now, I'm gonna make it when they click on it, they just use it. Okay. Okie dokie. All right. So we need to have in our combat controller. Here. Let's open this up. Edit scripts. We need to add in a player, some way to trigger that the player is going to use an item. And right now, that's right. We just have a player. We have this hack in here to test that player use health potion. It's not what we want. Instead, we want public void player use item item to use. All right, and it's gonna be a little bit more complex than this. Let's bring the item. We actually need to see if it's a usable item. Okay, so here's a thought. This is how the old Final Fantasy game worked. Not old Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy 1. If you could use any item during combat, but if it didn't have a use, it would just say like the item does nothing, and then you're real sad. Do we want to do that, or do we want, if the item's not usable, we should probably tell them like that item can't be used. If to use is item, it is usable. Let's rename this item. It's gonna tell me I should use pattern matching. No. All right. So if it's usable, we'll do something. Else Else we kind of have a combat result. Interesting. Let me think about this. Else. So our player agent needs to have a use item as well. Let's go to player agent. Right now our player agent only has a use health potion. So this sort of needs to get fixed into be a use a usable, essentially. Or a use an item. One of the two things. Okay. So interesting. So another thought is, you know, when you use an item, it might actually equip it or something like that. We're not going to worry about that for now because equipping stuff is a little bit more complex. So we're going to change this to be to use item. I'm going to make it take an I usable. So should only be able to use an I usable item. And use item for now is going to it doesn't return anything. Usable. There we go. We're gonna use this item. The player's gonna use the item on themselves. And part of me feels like this needs to be used item from inventory. Because there might be an item that you have in your hand or something. So when we use an item from the inventory, we sort of need to remove it from the inventory if it's consumable. So there's like different thoughts I have about removing it from the inventory. To do, some items should be consumables, i.e. they get removed from inventory or have a count in the inventory. All right, so you might need to remove them from the inventory. For now, I think this is sort of enough to get us to the actual using of the item. So in the case that it's usable, manager.playerAgent.use item usable, which should result in sort of the combat action and stuff happening. Otherwise, we're going to do a combat event. We're going to create a combat event. Combat result, not a combat event, a combat result. So this result is just going to tell us, it's going to tell result dot add item.name cannot be used during combat. All right, so there's gonna be it's basically gonna say can't use that item right now. So it's like a dagger or something, you can't use it. And then we're gonna do an on combat event dot invoke with our result, and that's gonna be the effect of trying to use that item. Okay. Oh, this might be much simpler than I thought. I thought this was gonna take much longer. So I'm, well, we're not done yet. Hang on, let me slow down. I'm getting ahead of myself here, being like, yes, we did it. We're done. That is not the case. That is not the case at all. Let's think here. Okay, so in our inventory, on an item select. All right, so on an item select, we're gonna go to our combat controller. And we're going to use player use item. So we're going to forward that to player use item. And then also on item select, we want to close our modal. So we're going to close the modal there. So now I should be able to click inventory. If I click dagger, dagger cannot be used during combat. All right, so I get that. And it's still the player string, so we didn't actually take an action. But, ooh, that's an interesting. Oh, I know why that's happening too. All right, so we can't use that. But if I try and use the health potion, use the health potion. Okay, so that was pretty easy to wire up. We still have a health potion in our inventory. Ooh. It's interesting. Chica the Zlork took 7 damage. Let's try. Oh, I see. So it's the cumulative result. I almost need to wait for the before I go to the next action. I almost need to wait for the text to come through. There we go. But yeah, we can drink that health potion. That's pretty cool. I'm really quite happy with that. That wasn't too hard to add in, but we need to sort of make some items consumable. So when you use them from your inventory, they sort of need to get removed from the inventory. But so I can also imagine some items not being consumable. So maybe you have a weapon that has multiple uses, or some kind of item that doesn't disappear upon use. But I'm pretty happy with what we have here. I kind of want to. I think it makes sense to do a commit here because we have things sort of a work in progress working. Okay, so I think I'm gonna do a commit here. Let's double check, make sure I didn't do anything super awkward. Gave my player health potion. Now that's fine. Combat controller. So we can delete that. That looks pretty good. Format. Our player agent. This looks pretty good. Our inventory controller. A little extra love there. Yeah, so we had to force it to render the first time it's loaded. I liked that. And this was just a test. We don't need that. All right, gonna let this load. Come on. There we go. Okay. So this was a work in progress. What did we add in here? We got our inventory inventory button, first draft of inventory in combat, inventory renders on clicking inventory button. User can select items from inventory. If they are usable, uses the item. Otherwise, reports that the item cannot be used in combat. Okay. Pretty happy with that. So I kind of finished my three goals. I finished pretty quickly here. As far as 3 goes, on click usable item, use the item. I got number 3 done here on my list. All right, so number 3 on my list, I actually managed to finish that. But there's some caveats to that, right? It's not just getting that to be used. It's like it also needs to be removed from the inventory, that sort of thing. So we're going to continue working on that as well. All right, so I think I want to add this idea of using an item consumes it. So in our usable, I want to have a boolean that says consumed on use. The public bool is consumed on use. So is consumed on use would imply that whatever inventory it's in, it needs to get removed from. And this will be a getter. Okay. And this means for our health potion, we're going to have to add that in there. and it is consumed on use. So if it is consumed on use, part of using it, all right, so now we're going to go to our combat controller again. Interesting. Because it should be part of the player use item. This is why I was thinking it needs to be used item from inventory. Because it should be part of the player agent. Because the player needs to know how to remove it from its inventory. I think we're gonna go with use item. So we're gonna have like a generic use item. But we're also gonna have a public void use item from inventory. Okay, and when we use an item from inventory, first it's going to see whether or not it should be consumed, and then it's going to call use item. Like this. So it's going to check if usable dot is consumed on use. Well, there's a couple things we need to do. First, we need to check, does the player have the item they're going to use in their inventory? So we need to actually check if they have it. INE over on YouTube, it says hello. Hello, INE. Is it INE? INE? I apologize if I'm pronouncing it wrong. I'd love to know. But hello, welcome aboard. Welcome aboard. Happy Friday, my friend. So we can only use something from inventory if we have it in our inventory. So in this case, we need to check if the player, so the player is the player agent. So player.inventory.contains usable. So we're going to say if they do not have this, we are going to invoke. We sort of need to stop early, but we need to invoke an action that says something like so-and-so tries to use an item, but they don't have that. Either that, or we can do an assertion here that says, well, you shouldn't call this method if you don't have it. So that's the other option. I could do a debug.assert, assert this. And the assertion, essentially error message would say, player cannot use usable because it is not in their inventory. That would be the other option. Maybe that makes sense. You should only call use from inventory if you have an item. I think that seems like a reasonable assumption, a reasonable thing to have to assert. Then we're going to check if it is consumed on use. If it is consumed on use, we remove it from the player's inventory. All right, so we'll use the item, and then we remove it from the player's inventory. Usable, player.inventory.remove usable. I think that should get us there. Let's see if we get any compilation errors. No compilation errors. And then in our combat controller, rather than calling use item, we're going to call use item from inventory. And I'm going to update this method to reflect that as well. Player use item from inventory, which is probably going to break some stuff in our connection, our wired up thing. So we'll double check, see if that rename propagates to Unity. I don't think it will. Yeah, so renaming, got to be careful renaming methods in renaming methods because now my inventory here, even though it was connected, it no longer has the method it thought it had. So now we gotta use player from inventory. So just gotta be a little bit careful there. All right, let's give it a shot. So ideally, I click inventory. I use my health potion. When I go to my inventory again, it shouldn't be there. It is. All right, so. Interesting. That's super interesting to me that it's still there. Let me take a look at my inventory's remove. This should be in our references. This should be character inventory or just an inventory. Okay. So a question is this being called? Debug.log. This be Unity engine. Item removed? Question mark. This is interesting to me that did not go through. So we got to double check that. Inventory. All right, so we did call that. Does our... So in our inventory, it does invoke it. Question, is the result a failure here? Let's get the result. Result. Item removed. Result dot message. Let's check that. Fascinating. So if I use an item, says it's a success, why is it not updating the character's inventory? Either that or the render isn't going through properly. Let's go to our inventory render. So when we call render, so it should be invoking this. Or are we not? Oh, this might not be the second time. Interesting. Smab, congratulations. Congratulations on finishing your queue list. Your queue list sign on. Nice work. Nice work. If you'd like to, feel free to share a link to it if you want people to check it out. It should be removed, but if I go to use it again, success a second time. What is going on there? Oh, I don't actually... Oh, hang on. No, it does call remove. Items.remove. Invoke. Is anyone listening to this? That might be... Our inventory renderer. This is fascinating. Player agent... Are we not? iCharacter, our player agent, Is this not the same character that is... Got to provide your own word list for spell checking. That's right. That's right. It's good stuff. Thank you for sharing, Smab. All right. What are we missing here? Is it that... health potion is consumed. What is going on? This is so interesting here to me. If it is consumed unused, we remove it. Why is it still there? I think I might need to add in an inspector item so I can actually see what's going on with our player. Player. Who is our player? Unity engine debug log. This is fascinating to me. What a weird little bug. It is Chica the Zlork. Says the item was removed, but it's still showing here. So the question is, can I... All right. Player.inventory.items for each item in Unity engine.debug. Looks like it's time to write a test. Because my used item for inventory is not working. Not even close. Item.name. So I think we got to write a unit test. It shows that there's no, that only has the dagger in the inventory now, and I've got to use the health potion. The health was, what? Before, all right. Before. And after. This is blowing my mind a little bit. We got a before and after here. All right, I really need to write a unit test. I need to write a unit test because this is not behaving appropriately. They have a health potion before, but then after they don't, but then I click here and they have it again. Do they? No, don't have it. But it's not failing properly. It should be a failure. Okay. So this just isn't, the remove isn't working. Remove should produce a failure. What is the documentation? There's no documentation here. Let's look up the C# documentation. So we're looking up C# remove. This is on lists. Okay. Can I go back to an older version, .NET 4.8. All right, here we go. Here's the documentation for lists. All right, here's the documentation for list, and it says, removes the first occurrence of the specific object. Returns true if the item was successfully removed, otherwise false. So this doesn't work the way I think it does. Or at least I don't think. Let's open up a polyglot. Let's create a new polyglot notebook. Let's try. Is polyglot still not working? Oh no, here it goes. Just taking it a second to load up. If you don't have polyglots installed, it's a pretty good. It's kind of like a Jupyter notebook, but you can do it has multi-language support. So I have C# installed, so I can do some C# stuff. So instead of having to create a whole new project, I can just test some stuff out right here. So I want to say using its lists installed by default, list of int test list equals new 1 2 3 4 5. All right. Can I do this? All right, I can. So I want to say, okay, console.write test list.remove. Let's do a write line. Remove 1. Semicolon. And then let's try removing 1 again. All right. So my thought is that this would say true. It was able to remove something, then false because it didn't exist. I do get true, false. What? All right, that's what I thought. So I'm curious why this here is failing. Or is it? Is it failing? All right, let's write a test. Let's write a test. We're gonna do unit testing. Unit testing. So we're gonna go to our tests folder. Do we have a equipment? All right, inventory test. Does our inventory test already have, it doesn't have a remove test. All right, so we're gonna add in some tests here for inventory. Create a test, timeout. Timeouts are always good to add onto your tests so you don't get caught in a loop. Test, add, remove. Okay. We're going to test this behavior here. Let's close others. Don't save. I don't need that. Okay. When I add something, so we need some items to add. All right. So we start out with a new, let's create an inventory to test with. So we'll do inventory. Inventory equals new inventory. Oh, and C#, let's do this. Got to give it a name for this inventory, and this is going to be our test inventory. When we do inventory, so we should be able to assert dot the inventory size, inventory dot items dot count is 0. So we're going to assert that it's empty to start out. And we're going to add a thing into it. So we're going to create an item here. item potion. New health potion. We get a health potion. And we're going to inventory dot add potion. We're going to add the potion to it. We expect it to return a result that we're successful. Okay. We're going to expect that we get a successful result. And we also should get an on change. If we were registered to this listener, we'd get a result from that. So that's sort of like our precondition, post condition. Our precondition is that the item wasn't there. Our post condition is that item exists, as well as anyone who was listening got notified. For now, let's just do the add here. We're not going to worry about the notification at this moment in time. So after we do this, I should be able to assert, this will be an I result. I should be able to assert dot r equal I result dot success and result. All right. So it should have returned a result. I should also be able to assert that the number of items in my inventory now is 1, so I have 1 item in my inventory, and that I contain... All right, so previously I shouldn't have contained my potion. All right, so my precondition is I don't have the potion. Assert dot contains, assert dot, assert that, how do I, yeah, assert that, inventory.items.contains potion is false. So assert that it does not exist. Okay. And I also want to... All right, so then afterwards, assert that inventory.items.contains potion. All right, so now we're going to assert that it does contain the potion. So that's our precondition and postcondition for adding. And now when I go to remove that item, I should be able to remove it. So I should be able to say, inventory.remove potion. So I should be able to remove the potion, and this is going to be my new result here. And the result should be a failure. I don't know that I have my equality check properly set up here. Yeah, so this success is not going to work. Instead we want to assert that result is iResult.success. So that it is a success. The class? It should be the class. Interesting. Assert iResult. iResult. Oh, they're separate. They're separate. Success. Okay. Let's assert that it is a success. All right. So now here, when I do a remove, I can assert that result is a success. Okay. So it is successful. That my inventory count is back to 0. So it's essentially, we're checking that removing brought it back to 0, and that we no longer contains it. And then I want to do another remove. I want to call remove again. And this time it should be a failure. So this is where my bug seems to be coming from previous. At least this is the bug I think I'm observing in my when I click my button in the interface. I think I'm observing this bug. And it could be that I'm not correctly notifying listeners, or that I'm not registered on the inventory as a listener. So when my inventory changes, the renderer is not re-rendering or something along those lines. But the fact that I can use it again is bothersome to me. All right, so I removed it. It should be a failure. And I should also... Oh, is that what's going on? Hang on, let's keep going. So it should be a failure, and these should both continue. We shouldn't have them in our inventory still. All right, let's run this test. See if it compiles first. So we're gonna do a little unit test here. Looking good. All right, so test runner. We just added in, let's run them all. It's always a good idea to run them all. So we do have a failure. Test add remove. This is fascinating. So let's, sure enough, when we remove it a second time, it's not reporting that it's a failure. And that is the bug that I'm observing. Good to know. Good to know. Okay. So let's add a breakpoint here. Let's connect this for debugging. And I'm also actually, let's bool was removed equals this. And we're going to say if we was not removed. I didn't put a return here. Boom, boom, boom. Thank you. Thank you very much, Moonness. It's about to get there. All right. Moonness, thank you so much. We're gonna award Moonness here 50 points for finding a bug. Thank you very much for finding a bug for me. Get bonus points for paying attention. Moonness ranked #1. Nicely done, my friend. Nicely done. Moonness always catching my bugs. All right, so we don't need the debugger. I'm gonna remove these breakpoints. Let's see. Well, let's see if that fixed it. We will enable debugging. Let's see if that fixed it. So it got to recompile because we are now in debug mode. And let's rerun this test. There we go. There we go. So now if I were to run this, it's still going to show up. Unity Coder says, "Oh no!" Hashtag "Oh no!" Unity Coder, I think, was first. Can we do leaderboard? Is that the command? Oh, we can view the leaderboard. Hang on, let's view the leaderboard. So I think that Unity Coder, I think it's unitycoder.com. Is that how we pronounce it? Unity Coder was in the lead, so that Unity Coder's just behind, and then Smab's right behind them. All right. So now I believe, oh, let's try again. I believe I should be able to, it'll still be there. So we're not, I don't think our inventory is registered properly to re-render itself. But now we should be able to click inventory, health potion, it'll work the first time. It's still there, but now when we click it, it says you don't have a health potion. All right, so we can't actually do it. Moona says, bonus goal #1, got to get 10K points. 10K points, that's a lot of points. It's a lot of points. But yeah, you can do it. You can do it if you just believe in yourself. You got to believe in yourself, Mooniz, and I think you do. I think you do believe in yourself. Let's look here. What were we? We had our, all right, so we fixed the bug, but it's not rendering. I think we're still registered. We're not registering our inventory properly. So in our inventory renderer, and our inventory render, we only render when we're told. We don't actually observe it. So I think we have an observable inventory. Ooh, there's no observable inventory. So that's, I think, what's going on. Inventory observable. I don't like the way I've named that. This, when we observe on it, I believe we need to register ourselves to update properly. Question is, am I using this? I am. In our inventory renderer, we have one. Yes. So we're listening to our observable, but the inventory observable, which is a component version, it isn't actually registered to send updates when the underlying inventory changes. So we need to do that. So when we actually set the inventory here, we need to do a little bit more than just set it this way. We need to register ourselves as an observer. So we get our value, but then our observed is has an inventory. So inventory.onChange. We add in a forward, a forward event. Good, Moonness, I'm so glad to hear you got it working. That said, oh yeah. So Moonness, everyone, just real quick, I'm gonna give a shout out here. Moonness is also a streamer. Mooniz is a real game developer. I'm not a real game developer. I am learning how to use Unity. I'm a computer science teacher who's using Unity as a conduit to empower students to create things. But Mooniz is a real streamer. So real quick, if you're listening, if you're lurking, but if you can hear me, right now, I just gave Mooniz a shout out. Come back to the chat just for a moment. Come back to the chat. Click that little heart button that's up at the top there. Click that little heart. Give Mooniz some love. Go check him out. Some good stuff going on there. But yeah, nice work on finishing your collision. I know you had some issues going on with it, but I'm glad you got it working. But Mooniz is always here giving me great advice for Unity. Wonderful place to go and check out if you want to learn some more, or if you just want to watch someone develop a real game. Yeah, of course, Mooniz. Thank you for all of your support. So when we change here, we actually need to forward this event. So it's a little bit tricky because we need to keep track of the previous observed. Yeah, so the previous observed, we need to remove ourself. So real quick, we're gonna add in a method. I think. Let's go look at observable component. We just need to call change. We need to call it change. Okay. So change. Like this. Oh, it takes in an inventory. Hang on. Observable. Let's see. Can we do another one? Protected void change t with change. Oh, I know what I can do. No, I can't do that. Interesting. Sorry. Observed on change.invoke observed. I want to be able to do this. What is on change here? It's something with an I inventory. Oh, it can't quite work that way. We got Clayman with the raid with 22 people in the party. Welcome aboard, Clayman. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the raid. Anyone who doesn't know, Clayman is a legit. You know, Moon is also legit. But I was just touting Moonness, but we're gonna tout Clayman now. Clayman. Oh, thank you so much for giving them the shout out for me. I wanted to give a shout out to Clayman. Clayman's making epic hero game. If you haven't seen it yet, you should go check it out. Are you a VIP yet, Clayman? Feel free to drop a link to your epic hero game Steam, but we're gonna go check it out real quick. Epic hero game on Steam. Doesn't take much. Go wishlist this game right now. Go click that link. If you haven't clicked the link, I'm gonna give you a second here. Click that link. Click it. I know you want to. Click that link. You're almost there. Up. Okay, you got it clicked. Now you're gonna scroll down and you're gonna add that to your wish list. Do it. Add it to your wish list. You know you want to. Black Mage, I'm so sorry that you got timed out there. Unban. Black Mage UK. I'm so sorry. I don't know, my stream elements is super fast. I'm not sure what you got blocked for. I apologize for that. Moon, as you open in 10 tabs now, for each one of those tabs, you gotta click add to wish. I'm new to streaming, so I don't know nothing. But add it to your wish. Just go check it out. What is this? Is this trailer? Look at this sweet game. Can we get the volume here? Is anyone hearing that? I'm not hearing anything. Let me pause my music. Anyway, this game of the year. If you haven't wishlisted, I don't know why OBS doesn't let me play videos. It always has issues playing videos. Game of the year, though, for sure. If you want to play a game that has superhero elements, but also is a roguelike game, go check it out. It's awesome. It's awesome. Good stuff. Good stuff. All right. Clayman, how did your stream go? How was the stream? All right. Why can't I? Because it needs to be an inventory. All right. Fine. This is observing an I has inventory. Okay. Fine. We will add a new one. This can be our private void. Forward update. I inventory to update. All right. This is just going to be on. This is going to do a change. Okay. Like that. All right, everyone. Yeah, for some reason I can't get the clip to play on my streams. For some reason OBS, whatever, anytime I ever try to play a video, OBS like chokes. It's crazy. If I move it to my other monitor, it will play. But for whatever, when I'm on this screen, it chokes. Okay. So, what am I working on right now? That's probably a good question to answer. We are working on... So I'm a computer science teacher. I'm Captain Coder. Welcome aboard. Welcome aboard. I am a computer science and programming teacher. I mostly I work at a school, remote school, where I teach kids 10 to 14, but I also teach kids outside of the school. I do some tutoring. I volunteer sometimes at different events. Girls Who Code, Black Girls Code, two of my favorite organizations. That said, I'm putting together a project here. I'm trying to create a project, Captain Coder's Adventure Quest, which teaches people through doing a project how to do object-oriented design, following design principles in C#, learning how to do unit testing. Testing is super important. So building automated tests, so to keep ensuring that your program's working as you go, and using Unity's interface. So this is Unity Canvas, a big Unity Canvas, and using events to manage the complexity of programs. So Adventure Quest is a text-based role-playing game. Drawing inspiration from Dungeons and Dragons, Swords and Sorcery, Fate Core, the old school tabletop role-playing games. So it's built on top of a dice system. So dice roll to generate events and randomness. It is a text-based adventure, but we're using Unity's Canvas system to render stuff on the screen. And so we are focusing heavily on using Unity events to learn C#. Unity events to learn how to manage the complexity of a program. Space engineers. No test, however. But yeah, so one of my big focuses is like, how do you test? How do you manage complexity and make sure if you have to refactor something, you don't break everything? So we actually wrote a test recently. So here is, this is gonna break stuff real quick. Let me comment this out. We are currently working on the combat scene for our game. We're getting close, and today we're trying to get our inventory working. All right, so being able to use items in combat. So right now we sort of can have our enemies show up. Combat you can't win or lose yet. You can run away, but we have attack working. The monster doesn't actually die yet. We've got defend working. We kind of have inventory working, so we have this thing that we just discovered, so I can click on a health potion, it'll heal me. The screen's not updating, so the health potion's no longer in my inventory. If I click on that, I get a debug message that says that you don't have a health potion, but the event still fires. So we discovered, and we wrote a unit test to discover this, is that our inventory, our renderer, is not connected properly to the actual inventory model under the hood. All right, it's not connected to the inventory model under the hood, right? And so that's what we're working on. We're trying to fix it here. So we have this idea of an observable inventory. So this is the a mono behavior. So this is something that exists in a scene in Unity that can watch an inventory. And so right now it's able to sort of render that inventory, but it's not registering that when the inventory changes under the hood. So there's this on change that the inventory will notify observers of. It's not propagating that back out. So that we're in the process of adding that in right now. So we're going to say if we have a little trick we got to do here. If we were previously observing something. So if we were previously observing something, we need to stop observing it. All right. So with C# events, we use minus equals to remove ourselves from it. So the on change, we're going to remove our forward update. And then we're actually going to add in the on change. We're going to add our update to, not force mode, forward update like this. I think this is the proper way to do it. So my inventory elements, inventory isn't a mono behavior. Inventory is not a mono behavior. Our observable is a mono behavior. So it's like sort of, we're doing model view controller. We're separating like our data model from our visual model, our renderer model. And so the observable component is the renderer model. When it wakes up, it doesn't necessarily know what it's observing, but we can change which inventory we're watching. And so this sort of helps, I think this is going to propagate it through. So we're going to test that here. I think this is what we needed. Although I might not, if we are registering, so here's the sad part. If we are registering on this observed thing, I think this observed thing needs to switch to protected, because you should only access this through a public interface, and so you always want to extend this. We're gonna check it out. Oh, I have, yeah. So that's a I know what you're talking about, Moon. That is over in our inventory renderer. Is that right? Inventory renderer. Controller? No. I know what you're talking about actually now. So yes. That is a little bit of a smelly thing going on in that one that we need to fix as well. I have a to-do for that. Is the issue is on enable and on awake. On enable still only fires when you set active. So it's sort of like when this thing gets set active, we had to force the render. All right, so we're gonna try and use the health potion. I'm hoping, no, did not propagate through. That's fascinating to me. So I'm a little disappointed. I'm a little disappointed in that. That didn't propagate through. So this means that our render is not getting called. Real quick though, I have all these debug logs I want to get rid of. Find debug.log. Yeah. Don't need that. So I know. Hang on. These logs I get rid of. This log I get rid of. We remove it here. And I need to it's not propagating still, so it's not registering properly. So my thought is I might not be observing the actual inventory. Let's go look at our inventory renderer. Under the hood, our inventory renderer Where is our observable inventory? Do we have an observable inventory? I don't know that we're actually using observable inventory here. That's interesting. That's super interesting. Character inventory controller. So Moon, this is where you were talking about here. I said, oh, if this thing, when this thing wakes up. So let me ask, on enable, is that's just when the scene starts, or is it only when the like on enable shouldn't happen every time? Oh, I see what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. You're saying I could make this on enable where it will render when it enables rather than doing it. Yeah, that would probably fix it. I think what's happening is I'm not actually using an observable inventory. I'm not actually observing the inventory. I have an inventory renderer, and the inventory renderer is essentially being dictated by this character inventory controller. But our inventory renderer kind of needs, there's like no, I'm never using inventory observable anywhere. So I actually think we need to go into our inventory prefab and add one in. So if we go to our equipment inventory here, and our inventory renderer, yeah, so our inventory doesn't have a observable inventory on it. So it's just sort of, it only renders when we say to render, and it doesn't care if you update. So this actually should have an observable inventory observable. I hate that. Let's rename that file. Inventory observable. I want this to be called an observable inventory. Okay, and so that's gonna break some stuff here. Observable inventory. Okay, we gotta rename it here as well. Observable inventory. Like this. Let's rebuild. And Art, my friend, yes, it's morning for me. 6:30 a.m. local time. Happy Friday, my friend. Happy Friday. Nice to have you aboard. Anyone who doesn't know, Art is a real game developer. Art is a real game developer developing a... So real quick, if you're lurking, come on back to the chat. Hit that little heart button up there at the top there. It's up there at the top just for you. Give Art some love. Go check out Art's Art stream. Art streams streaming daily right now. I don't think that's always the truth, but Art is making a swords and sorcery inspired, sword and sorcery themed first-person shooter. If you ever played Heretic or Hexen, really similar to those games, as well as Doom. So it's first-person, moving around. You have a sword. You got projectiles. You got enemies. So he's developing that. It looks awesome. I'm super excited about it. Amazing old school style to it with the render. Built his own custom render in C++. Not using any Art's hardcore. Art is hardcore using a custom built engine. So go check it out. Awesome stuff. One of my favorite streams. You gotta get there. So give Art some love. But welcome aboard, Art. It's nice to see you this morning. We are trying to get our... Oh, yeah, that's right. So our inventory needs to have an observable inventory on it. Okay. And we're going to say that our renderer... So our inventory renderer should require an observable inventory. And we're going to register on that. So that will, I believe this is actually what would solve the problem where I have to call type of. Okay. So here's the issue that we were running into before. I believe by doing this, I'm going to solve my issue as well. In my, yeah, so we're gonna get the observer. This thing's getting a little bit, there's a lot of fields on this. It's actually not crazy. It's not too crazy. All right, so we're gonna have a private, oh, we have an observable inventory. Oh, interesting. Okay, so I actually think all I gotta do, yeah, so I'm gonna set this as the default. Gee, thank you so much. Yeah, we got a raid from Clayman Dev. Clayman's doing some awesome game development, so we got a little boost from Clayman. So Clayman, thanks so much. Gee, how are you doing? Welcome aboard, my friend. How are we feeling this morning? So this should be sort of attached here. So it's an observable inventory itself. And then if we come back to our scene, our combat controller and our player character, when we load this up, we're gonna say that our inventory, not this one, just should be this inventory here. Inventory observer. We're gonna set the inventory to be this thing. You're doing fine, you hope. I hope you're working too. I hope so. Art, yeah, we have a drag and drop style inventory. I'll show that to you in just a second. The inventory, our equipment interface works pretty well. But yes, that's the idea. Yeah, and I'm doing quite well. Thank you so much for asking. I think we managed to get the, I had a technician out yesterday, so no stream yesterday. I was really sad. I was probably more sad than anyone else. I've been having so much fun streaming. But yesterday I didn't get to stream because had my internet, anyone who's been watching the stream regularly at the beginning, every morning the last week has been a nightmare to get my bit rate working. Had a technician out yesterday, seemed to have fixed the issue. So if I click health potion, it's still not updating. What is going on? This is horrible. Yeah, so I took some time yesterday since I wasn't streaming to write a little ticker, in really simple ticker, JavaScript, HTML, CSS, that allows me to update my list here. So I just have a list of items that I can add my to-do list here, and it'll update my scroller at the bottom. I've been wanting to have a way to do that for a while. I looked into a bunch of pre-built ones, and none of them kind of fit my needs. So I went ahead and built one myself. But Art, let me show you real quick. how the interface looks in the drag and drop equipment interface. I'm gonna give myself character controller. So I'm pretty happy with this. I'm gonna give my character some equipment because right now they don't have any, and there's nowhere they can't buy it yet. So we're gonna add into our inventory a equipable. Let's see, is it armors? What a dumb name. We're gonna go and give myself all of the equipments. All right, give myself a chain helmet, pants, armor, and boots. All right. So then we come back over here and we'll go check out our spot here. So if we come on out, we're gonna flee our combat. We're gonna flee from combat. So we flee, see if we can escape. Turn to town, go to our status screen. So I have all of these items here. So I do have a drag and drop equipment system. So I can equip different things, and to remove it, you just drag it back over. Can only equip to the proper slots. So we wrote all of those things in there. So yeah, you can equip all of this stuff. to the appropriate spot. So we do have sort of a drag and drop inventory system, so to speak. So pretty cool. Pretty happy with how that's worked out. Can't equip potions, right? But potions are usable in combat. Let's go see. And you can, some items happen to implement like a usable interface. Let's just use it. Yeah, so I was really proud of being able to put this together. That was fun. That was really fun. We'll go look for trouble. Very satisfying to look at. We got the one thing that gets pointed out frequently on that screen. I need to add in a better background, right? Better background. We happen to have, oh, now I'm adding in a bunch of extra stuff here. But yeah, we have the default Unity blue there. So I find that hilarious. All right, so now our player here, let's come to our, we don't need to give the player all of these things now. In fact, our player's gonna have them, so I'm gonna do player.inventory.clear. So we can play around with potion. Give him a chain helmet so we can play around whether or not. You're welcome. Thank you for asking. I think it's a really fun little thing to have there. Let us continue here. I'm almost, all right, so I've been going for almost 2 hours. We're 15 minutes to have been going for 2 hours. At which point I'm definitely going to take a break. I might take a break a little bit sooner, but I'm out of coffee. I'm out of water. My throat is feeling a little, no, I'm out of water. I had a little splash in there. But let's, my inventory is not updating properly. And that's making me a little bit frustrated. Our observable inventory. Player controller, we set the observable inventory. And it should be propagating through. So we're gonna try something here. Debug.log, propagate inventory. Art says, I was chasing a bug for hours both last night after the stream and earlier today. Finally found it. It was a case of lacking an update for my class of interactable entities. I'd forgotten to update the code in one place. Wondering if you're having a similar problem. I think so. There were 2 issues. So luckily I was able to write a test to expose the issue. I believe I'm not properly connecting things. I might have to write another test. Let's save here. So I wrote a test here for my add remove. Something was amiss. Something was wrong with my add remove. So I've added it. I wrote a little test here for testing add and remove. And the remove method wasn't working initially. So we fixed that. We discovered that bug by writing a test. Now the test, there's a couple things that could be wrong. Either I'm not observing it. So my inventory when I remove should notify everyone that it's changed. So it should be able to say, hey, I've changed. Here's the new inventory. So I'm either not registering myself properly on the inventory. So I may not be registering that I'm on the inventory. I think I am here. Or I'm not properly forwarding that update. So when it changes, I'm not recalling render. So I'm trying to see right here whether or not I actually am propagating the inventory when the inventory changes. So hopefully when I click use health potion, I should get a little message in my console saying that the message has... So I am propagating inventories at various points. When I use the health potion, I am propagating it. So this sort of tells me that my renderer doesn't seem to be doing it though. So let's go to our inventory render. My renderer doesn't seem to be doing it, but we're gonna check here. Debug.log invoking inventory renderer. So I know for sure that my item has been removed from my inventory. If I try to use it, it doesn't actually use it. I get a little error message. But my question is this being invoked properly? So when I click, and it doesn't seem to be. We're gonna find out. So for every item in the inventory.items, yeah. So click on inventory. Ah. Hang on, it said invoking renderer. It's not. It's not. The order is interesting here. So when we wake up, yes. Canvas, renderer, we find all of our internal components. Inventory. We invoke the inventory when I click render. Oh. This seems to not be happening. So my observable inventory, it is propagating, but the change is not propagating down. It seems that my renderer is not listening. So let's put a log here. Debug.log. I think it is. I think it is. We'll double check that. I think I just added that as the default controller. All right, so let's double check though. Inventory modal. Our inventory. Oh, it didn't. Hang on. It didn't update. It's not set. My prefab here. Oh, I did it in my prefab. It didn't propagate up in my character inventory. It's not set in my character inventory. Fascinating. All right, so, I see. Yes, there we go. Mooniz, once again. Mooniz getting all the points. If you don't know, I try to remember, but if you help me solve a bug and you are responsible for the bug fix, I will award you some points. So thank you, Mooniz, for the help once again. Mooniz got it. Mooniz got it. So we weren't actually registering it there. So this is cool, though. So something that I'm realizing, right? Something that I'm realizing is now when I wake up, I don't have to actually call that render. I don't think. Well, that's interesting. There we go. So now it's removed from our inventory. Okay, so something that I believe we can change now is in our character inventory here. We don't actually have to force this here. We don't have to say, okay, go ahead and render yourself the first time you wake up. It should propagate through via the event listeners that we have there. So I feel confident that that's the case. We're going to take that out real quick. So I think that's a good point. I could do an on validate. And also, Mooniz, I didn't know that there was an on validate. That I've been wondering about that for a long time. How can I invoke the editor to yell at me if something's not set? So I really like that idea. I did not know that existed, and I'm very happy to hear that it does. No, I still have to do it. I'm surprised I have to do that. Surprised I have to do it. Shouldn't it? I guess I'll leave this alone for now. To do why, consider why we have to call render here. Shouldn't, oh, it's because the inventory doesn't change immediately. That's why. The inventory hasn't changed. Yeah, so this is what we got to do. So we actually have to call forward update. When we first start observing something, we actually have to tell everyone that we want to update as well. So forward update observed inventory. Format this. So the first time you register yourself, you want to tell everyone, hey, this container has changed what it's observing. But yeah, now our inventory renderer, I actually think, well, we want to be able to change it. I think I don't want to break too much here. All right, so Mooniz is telling me there is a magic method on validate. I love this. On validate. Called when the script is loaded. Called an editor only. All right. Let's go look up how on validate works. Before I do that, though, let's test to make sure this render goes through. I wanted to remove this. Try not to get too distracted here. All right, in a moment, we're gonna check it out. It doesn't. What the heck? I'm so surprised by that. I'm a little surprised that that doesn't forward. Oh, it's because it's not. I know why. It's because our inventory renderer doesn't register itself till it awakes. All right, so that's fine. We'll leave that in there real quick. I'm gonna put a little comment to do. Consider not using awake to forward the render. And so this would be in our inventory renderer. Instead, it might make sense to have this be a lazy value that if it isn't loaded, if it isn't loaded, loads on awake. Moon is, I worked at a place where onValidate was used too much, so whenever I changed the value in the UI, I had to wait for 5 seconds. But that was a huge project, and onValidate was used in basically every mono behavior. Yeah, I feel like, well, so one of the things I've tried to do is limit the number of things that you can actually drag into components. So I actually feel like this shouldn't be here, and instead inventory render should have an observable. And when it wakes up, it just says, oh, well, I go and I find that observable. But that was a decision that I didn't make previously. So I think there's some other scene that we're using an observable that's not on our inventory render, and I don't want to break that, at least not yet. Well, I don't necessarily want it to be serialized either, so I actually think I can get rid of serialized here. Well, all I'm saying is I can get rid of serialized. So right now I am using it in the inspector and in another scene, so I do need it. But yes, trying to follow like encapsulation principles. There we go. All right. All right, we're gonna pause here. I gotta get some more coffee. I gotta get some water to deal with my parchedness. But stand by. We are going to Be right back. Gonna be right back. We got 2 more hours, but yes, we have a little coffee break here. And then I'm gonna do a little bit of stretching. So hang tight, and I will be back with that. But we're close. Oh, actually, let me do a commit. We just added in. Yeah, so we just added in a feature. Implement consumable items. Implement consumable items. You know, in I usable dot is consumable added is consumed on use. We also added updated combat scene to invoke removing the item from the inventory, as well as propagating the changes to the renderer. Alrighty. Propagating, is that not how we spell propagating? That's okay. It's probably propagating instead of propo. Okay, break time. Enjoy watching some coffee cups dance while I get some coffee here. And we'll be back shortly. All right, we are back here. We've got a fresh 16th ounce bottle. I was gonna say cup. It's a bottle of water here. Gotta stay hydrated. Back when I was in Scout, they would say hydrate or die, and there's a lot of truth to that. If you don't hydrate, you die. So hydrate or die. I like that. And then I also got a cup of dehydrating coffee to go with it. So we got Don Francesco's dehydrating, delicious. I'm not saying like delicious. How much is 16 ounces in milliliters? I think it's close to 1 liter or half a liter. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, got to counter that hydration with a little bit of a caffeine injection. I think it's Mathlete. Mathlete, thank you so much for the follow. I hope you're enjoying your time here. Welcome aboard. Welcome aboard. You're my 150th follower, so thank you so much for being here. Yeah, I think it's a half liter. It's close to half a liter. Yeah, we got this sweet cup here. I love this mug. It's my latest mug that I'm liking. Got this at the Saguaro National Park, which is beautiful national park. Gorgeous. Brought our dog there. But yeah, I got Don Francesco's black coffee black, no cream, no sugar, but with a hint. This is the butterscotch toffee coffee. Just a little hint of butterscotch in there that makes it so good. Yeah, I drink probably 4 or 5 of these a day, maybe more. I'm not sure. Not coffees, of the waters. My water bottle. I'm talking all day, so I'm always thirsty. Enjoy your run, Art. Thank you so much for being here. Have a beautiful day. And I hope to catch your stream. Once again, if you're not following Art, you should be. Take a moment now. Click that heart at the top of the chat there. Art's making a first-person shooter, a first-person hack and slash shooter. So be sure to follow Art. Check it out. Doing some awesome stuff. Art, have a wonderful day. Ooh, the new baby sloth at the London Zoo. That sounds fun. But yeah, Art. At some point, I need to get some screenshots of Art's stuff so I can share it with everyone here, because I think it has one of the best. And I know he's not done with the art on it yet, but the best aesthetic. One of the best aesthetics I've seen for a game. I'm into the old school games. So much nostalgia when I see it. Oh, but we're going to stretch. I was about to jump right back into code. But let's get a stretch going here. What should we stretch today? I think I want to do a forearm stretch. All right, so we're going to stretch. We're going to stretch this out here. So everyone, I'm going to encourage you, go and stand up. Get up out of your chair. If you're in your chair, tell your coworkers to come stretch with you as well. If you're at work, get your coworkers to stretch with you. But we're going to stretch, do a little bit of stretching, take care of ourselves a little bit. But go ahead. We're going to stretch this muscle out. You're going to put your right hand forward, and you're going to pull back on your fingers here. Get them nice and stretched out. Don't hurt yourself. Just a nice, easy pull. Stretch out that forearm muscle there. Keep yourself from getting hopefully any sort of repeated stress injury from sitting on a computer all day, which is what I kind of do. I stand at a computer all day. I don't sit on a computer. I stand at a computer. All right, stretch out. Ooh, that feels good. Should feel good. If it hurts, let go a little bit. You don't want to hurt yourself. All right. And then we're going to do the other direction. So now you take your fingers and pull them down, and you're going to be stretching the top here. Smad's coworker is a plastic duck. Plastic duck says no stretching. No stretching for me. That's okay. That's okay if your duck doesn't want to stretch. Your duck's loss. Oh, that's a good stretch. Yeah, being a climber, they get what did we always say? Pumped. When you're climbing a lot, your forearms start to get pumped, and stretching them feels amazing. All right, we'll shake that out a little bit. We're gonna switch over to the other hand, the other wrist. Put that wrist out, go and pull back gently until you're feeling it get stretched out there. Don't lock your arm, but don't have it be bent. You don't want to be stretching like this with it bent awkward. Keep that arm straight, not necessarily locked, but pull it back. Get a nice little stretch in there. Take care of that. Take care of that. Help reduce any sort of harm you might cause yourself in the program. You might not even think. So when I was younger, I never even thought about it. You might not think about how much damage you can do your body sitting at a computer all day, but you can do a lot of damage. You can do a lot of damage by just having your body atrophy a little bit. All right, we're gonna stretch the other way now. Go and pull down lightly there. Feel it across the top. Don't hurt yourself. As always, don't hurt yourself. Oh, some good stretches. All right, get that in. I'm gonna shake it out here in a moment. But thank you for joining me for this stretch. Nice little stretch, nothing too crazy, just to keep us a little bit accountable for our own health. We'll shake it out. Shake it out. All right. We're gonna hop back into coding. Just a brief. Shoulder rolls. Let's do shoulder rolls real quick too. So just shoulder roll to 4 back on each side. 2, 3, 4, and we'll go forward. 2. And switch to the other side and we'll go back. Oh, this one feels great. I have something going on here. I'm gonna do this one a couple extra times. Feel it pop a little bit. Feels good. And go forward. It's interesting. It only happens when I go back. All right. Little limbered up. Not super limbered up. But we got a little bit in there. But let's come back in here. We're gonna look at our code. What are our goals for today? What were our goals for today? I think we might have reached our goals, which is awesome. All right, so we want our inventory to show up when we click it. We want to show usable items in the player's inventory. So one more thing that I think I want to do. I haven't done this. We have 3 working when we use them and can consume them. I want to add a little indicator next to an item that it's a usable item. And so this means we might need to add in an additional like combat inventory renderer. So right now we have an inventory render, but I think we want a combat inventory render, which is sort of is going to work a lot like the inventory render, but only show usable items. I think that's what we want to do. Or we can add a thing into the render that says, you can add a filter. Maybe we add a filter. Ooh, that's an idea. Maybe we add a filter to it. What do we think? Oh, but yeah, everyone, thank you so much for hanging out and stretching with me. And since you were here for our stretch, you get yourself 50 points for being here for a nice stretch, little stretchy poo. So thank you. I hope you stretched with me. If you did, you deserve those points. If you didn't, no big deal. No big deal, but know that you should get up and stretch, walk around, take a breather, get some water, hydrate, take care of yourself. All right, so we still got to do number two, which is I only want to show the usable things, or I want to indicate which things are usable. So I think I want in my inventory renderer, I think I want to add a filter. And then you can set the filter. So in my renderer, want to be able to add a filter option. So filters typically have something called a predicate. So you can apply a predicate. So let's add a list. Let's add a list to this. I'm gonna add a property. Public list. Gentinius, why do I need 3K to see my dog? So that's a good question. That's a good question because but maybe that's too much. Sometimes we're just gonna see the dog for no reason. Is 3K way too much? I didn't want people spamming to see the dog because the dog doesn't always want to be seen. 25 points to see the dog. It's a good point. It's a good point. It's because Dusty's the most cutest of the dogs. Hang on, let's go check out the store. Need a second angle cam on the couch. That's true. I could get a second camera. He's not in here right now, so sometimes he's not around. All right. Maybe we'll change that, Gentinius. What do you 50 points and you spin a wheel? All right, so you're probably right. 3,000's too much. 3,000's too much. You just for being here, you get 100 points per hour. 100 points per hour. How many? So what do people think? What would be a fair? 50 points and you spin a wheel with a 10% chance to win a dog cambio. Get 10 points per hour, and then I also give points out like they're candy. Like they're candy. But yeah, it is 3,000 points to get there. All right, let's take a look. We're gonna make a list. So we have to have filters. We need like an inventory filter. An item filter. Okay. So we're gonna have a list. All right, so we need this idea of a filter. We're gonna have a list of functions so it's a system.func from item to bool filters. And can I do this? No serialization on this one here. It's gonna be a public. Muniz is getting close to seeing a doggo. But yeah, maybe 3,000 is too much. I didn't know what to put there. I really wasn't sure. I wanted to have some things that weren't just getting some items out of my humble bundle. But maybe 3,000 is too much. I didn't want to maybe what I can do is instead of 3,000, I can make it 1,000, but have a cooldown of 1 day. So we only get to see the dog once per day, something like that. What do people think? What are people's thoughts? What are people thinking about that? And if there are other things you'd like me to add to the shop, let me know. I have no idea what to put in there. I'm so new to streaming. I don't know what to do. I just want to award you. Why are you hiding doggo from us? I think it's that the doggo isn't necessarily excited to meet people through the camera. I think that's more than anything. So it's more for the doggo's health. So we're gonna have a filter here. We can set some filters. All right, so when we go to render, we're gonna say we're gonna check the filters. Anyone in chat confirm doggo exists? That's right, Gentinius. Every day I raise the price on it when people are getting closer. Just gotta keep you right on that edge of getting it. Dot where? Let's see. We gotta filter the items. So to filter the items, inventory dot items dot. We gotta import link. Import link using system.link inventory.items.where and we have multiple predicates is the thing, so we want to go through all of the predicates. So can we combine? Yeah, so I want to make one big function. So I have one big function that we're going to aggregate. So we have our filters dot aggregate. It's interesting we want to aggregate these together. It might be simpler. All right, so filters dot any we want to apply it to all that select. This is interesting. So here's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to write a function bool filtered. All right, so if we're filtered, it's going to be a function like item, like this. This is going to be show item. Okay. And we're going to do items dot where we should show item. And then show item says that all of our filters are false. All right, so we'd essentially say, if we make it to the end, we return true. True. But we'll loop through for each function item to bool filter yeah in filters. This would be a system.func filter.invoke on item. So we're going to say if this is false, so if we shouldn't, so if we shouldn't filter this, return false. Otherwise we keep going. So our filters, if we have filters, we only do ones that meet that filter. So let's write a unit test. Let's add this to our inventory test. Okay. Oh, this is inventory renderer test. It's harder to test the renderer because it's a mono behavior. If I were to add the filter to the inventory itself, was that what would make more sense? I don't know if that's true. Yeah, so normally it's going to just return true. This method's getting a little bit gnarly. Get rid of this debug though. Let's add in a filter in our... This is interesting. I'm torn here. Let us go into our combat controller. We sort of need to set like an item filter on our renderer. So we can add any number of renderers to it. But should I have a... Where do I do that? Is it my combat controller? Is it in my inventory renderer? Should I have a subclass where we add that in? There's a bunch of different ways to get this here. I think our combat controller should specify the filters on our inventory. Let's try that. The other option would have a Boolean that says combat, set it to be a combat, or I have a subclass that I use. All right, let's go in our combat control. Let's see if this would be a challenge. This is... maybe I think it makes more sense actually to move this onto my let's do the following for now. I want to be able to test this out. Let's add a serialized field. Private bool filter usable items or show usable items. I think filter usable items only. Default will be false. And when we wake up, if filter usable items only, well, really we could make it so when we render, we'll do it when we wake up. Filter usable items only. Filters dot add and item. I'm gonna check item is usable. So we'll only show the usable things. Gentinius, great question. Awake is a magic Unity method that says when this thing is the first time this thing appears in the scene, this code is essentially run. So the first time it'll run once when it first shows up in the scene. It means you're in a dream and you should wake up. That's right, G. It's a sign. It's a sign. Wake up. Wake up. Your family's trying to reach you. Please wake up. That's horrifying. All right. So I click inventory. I see my chain health, my health potion. Okay. Let's make it so now my inventory render, if I were to say filter usable items on, I should only see the health potion now. Which is not the case. Because I'm calling render, this needs to be kind of part of... Yeah, when it's not during awake, it's sort of like during construction that needs to happen. Because the render's getting called later. It's getting actually called at a different time. Smap, that would explain a lot. One of my favorite movies, a movie I really enjoy. One of my favorite movies, let's say one of my favorite Arnold Schwarzenegger movies is Total Recall. And in that movie, there's like this idea of like, are you dreaming or are you awake? And this guy is trying to convince Arnold Schwarzenegger's character that he is in a dream, and then his family's outside trying to get him to wake up. And he's like, you got to take this pill. You got to take this pill as a sign that you want to wake up. And Arnold Schwarzenegger decides that he is being tricked into waking up, tricked into taking poison, essentially. I like it. Gee, that's absolutely right. I never, it is a lot of work. It's a ton of work to take care of a dog, any animal in a lot of ways, but high maintenance. Got to take it on walks daily, daily walks, take it on adventures. I love having Dusty as a companion, but it is a lot of work. At least 2 to 3 hours of time a day to take care of a dog. So this filter's not working the way I want. It's not being added at the right time. So I think I do need to do it in my combat controller. think we also kind of need to say, okay, if a new filter gets applied, we need to re-render. I think filters needs to go on the actual inventory itself. To make logical sense. Cause, all right, yeah. All right, I could do this. All right, so let's try. This is a hack I'm putting together here, just to test that my filters are working. When this thing boots up, we're going to call render observable. This is our default controller dot observed. I'm gonna try this. Gee, I also watch Dr. Pola, and it's also a lot of shots and checkups for the dog and the daily walks for us. Yeah, so we brought our dog, I think twice yearly. We have biannual vet visits scheduled. All right, so now it's filtering properly. Biannual vet visits. And then also we bring him in. He was like, he had a little bit of a limp one day. And so just to be careful, we didn't want anything wrong with him. We weren't sure. We ended up scheduling an extra one to go visit just to make sure. He's in great health. But it was sort of like this weird on and off limp that wasn't always there. And so we weren't sure if we were seeing it or not. The vet said that the dog was fine, but we weren't sure. We were going to go on a hike, but we saw him limp a little bit. And so we ended up not hiking for 2 weeks, I think. All right, so if I force this to go off, it is rendering properly. So my filters seem to be working well. I try to keep him happy. Very, very important. He's precious to me. He's also very, very good at letting me know when he needs things. So some dogs are not as good at letting me know they need things. He is a dog that will let you know, hey, I need to go on a walk. Please take me on a walk. I need it. And then I happen to have my, I work remotely. And my partner works remotely, so it happens to work really, really well that we can sort of take him on walks in the middle of the day if we need to. I get up early so I can take him on walks early when the time of the year is right. So we can alternate taking him on walks in the middle of the day if we need to. It does get very hot here sometimes in the middle of the day. But the sun starts rising at 4 in the morning in the summer, and it's like 70 degrees out and 4 in the morning in the summer here. Default controller observed. I don't like this code here though. I think therefore I am. No, I think we need to I think in combat, or I really do need a subclass that does this. This feels so hacky, because if I wanted to add additional filters, I could do it on this list. Let's make this a hash set as well. Oh, is that? I think that'll work. Will that still work? So I don't want the same filter twice. All right. We can consume our potion, then we don't have it. That was a waste. And it's gone. All right, so we can see our inventory. We can't do anything if we don't have anything. Okay, I think I'm somewhat happy with that. I feel like our combat controller should allow us... Maybe it really is just a checkbox. Maybe it really is just a checkbox. Maybe that's the best way to go. I'm not sure how I feel about it, though. Part of me feels like I need like an items filter class to manage the complexity here. Because if I decide I want more, I don't know that I want more filters. So in fact, I may have just over-engineered my filters here. Put my combat controller. I think I'm gonna leave it alone. Here. I don't want to over-engineer. This is simple, right? The way this works is really, really quite simple. It says just have a little thing there. If we want it to be rendered later on, if I decide that I want people, the player to be able to, in a shop, select some filters from the top, we can deal with that. But I think for now, that's not a big deal. So I think I'm happy with this simple thing here where I can just say, okay, well, I have a filter here. We are going to use this thing here, but add in a to-do, potentially rework to allow user to select filters in shop / status screen. All right, so it might make sense in the status screen for them to sort of select, hey, I only want to see the things that I can equip, or I don't want to see usable items, so we can filter them out. And this is why I was thinking that it might actually make sense for our inventory, so iInventory, to have, in addition to items here, have a method you can call that will get a list of items that is filtered. And so then it's coming from the inventory, and our inventory renderer just passes those filters into that method. It doesn't fix the problem of getting the filters here, but it sort of fixes the problem of needing this predicate here, which I don't like. This method feels a little bit, I don't know if convoluted is the right thing, but instead of just getting inventory, it would be inventory.items with filter. And so we sort of push this into our inventory, iInventory. And that might make more sense from just a reusability standpoint. Because I imagine you want to filter things other places, not just in the inventory renderer. I think that would make sense, actually. I think I'm going to put it here in iInventory is going to have a default method, public list item filter. We're going to add a filter to this, and it's going to take in our predicate here. Predicate type, yeah. A function. Let's do using system here. Yeah, I think I like that much better. So this is going to have a filter that says iItems, bool, and it's a list of these lists. Not a list, but an enumerable of these predicates. All right, and it's going to have a default implementation that essentially, where did it go? Is this. Yeah, show item. So we can sort of create this private static for each filter. It's not even that. And these are our predicates. We'll call it pred. And for each predicate, in fact, for each item in items, so we loop through all of our items, and we invoke this pred here. And at the end of the day, we have a list of item results. And we'll call this items. And we're going to say if our predicate includes this thing, items dot add item, and then we return at the end of the day. All right, so we loop through a nested loop. That's okay. All of our items get applied to all of our filters, and we get that back this way. Okay. And so then, Dramulks. Let me know if I'm pronouncing that wrong. I always love to try and pronounce names correctly. Welcome aboard, my friend. Welcome to Captain Coder's Academy. We are working on getting this text-based RPG working in Unity. Not necessarily working, rendered in Unity. And right now we're working on making it so at our inventory we can add filters to it. Specifically because I want to only show the items you can use in combat when you select inventory. But welcome aboard, my friends. So happy to have you here. Happy Friday. How are you doing today? How are you doing? What brings you into Captain Coder's Academy? Let's see here. So we have this filter. And so now, instead of this, I'm going to do inventory.filter. We're going to pass in our filters. Dramulks, I was taking a nap. Dramulks was taking a nap and Clayman stream and you woke up here, so welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome to the world of the living. Welcome to the world of the living. Happy to have you here. Happy to have you here. And once again, thank you, Clayman. If you're still here, I'm sure. Hopefully Clayman's getting some rest. He had not a rough week, but a long week. So we're gonna do our filters here. So we only get the things with our filters. And our filters, trying to fix an annoying bug that's becoming quite frustrating. Tell us about your project. I'd like to know. I'm sure people here would love to know. You're welcome to talk about it. If you need to post a link, let me know ahead of time. The Stream Elements bot is a little bit picky about links, but if you'd like to promote it a little bit, feel free to do so. Just let me know if you want to post a link, and I'll give you the power. I'll invoke the special privileges upon you. We're going to RPG that focuses on old school aspects. Nice. That sounds similar to what I'm doing here. Sounds similar. Okay. Let's see here. So the other thing I like about this is something that I can write a test for. I can write a filter test now to make sure my filters work. Writing a test on the render is much harder, whereas now writing a test for this is much easier. So we're gonna filter on a bunch of predicates. All right, I'm pretty happy with this. Let's take a look here. Did I meet my goals? Have we reached our goals? Yeah, we just finished number 2. Show usable items in the player's inventory. We got that working. So I'm happy. We're gonna do a commit. Let's update our to-do list here. All right, so S. Strike that out. We got it done. We got it done there, so I'm really, really happy with that. And we will update that list. All right, so we can sort of move on to how to create target items that can be thrown or used on an enemy. Sweet. Sweetness. Dremolks, does your RPG have a name? But yeah, let's add this in here. So we added a filter to iInventory, and we also added, get rid of that, get rid of that. format document. Oh, we were starting to work on validate. We got to look into that again. Drop that. Okay, so feature implement iInventory.filter. Additionally, add a filter on inventory renderer that allows setting an inventory to only display usable items. We got to add those in, commit, sync that up. No worries. I was just curious. Good to know. Good to know. Well, I hope things are going well. I hope you can find your bug. That can be super frustrating if you can't. Drive you crazy. Make you pull your hair out a little bit. All right. Sweet. So our bonus is we want to explore how to create target items that can be thrown or used on an enemy. All right. So right now, all our iUsables happen to be essentially a health potion. That's the only one we have. But it would be nice to have an item where we can use it to target someone. In this case, our enemy. So let's add in a bomb. I want to add in a bomb. So like a fire bomb. All right. So the idea is the fire bomb we're going to be able to lob at the enemy. And it basically gives us some a small amount of guaranteed fire damage, so to speak. Working man thought I was saying a fire bong, but no, we're doing a fire bomb. Yeah. So we're gonna add in a bomb that we can throw at our enemy. B-O-M-B, a bomb. I'll try to enunciate a little bit better. Here we go. So in our equipment, we have potion. Didn't know it was this kind of RPG. Yeah. No, this is a family-friendly RPG. We're gonna create a bomb. Probably don't need a bomb subclass folder, but we're gonna create a fire bomb. Fire bomb. I'm gonna try harder. Namespace adventure quest equipment. Is that what we've been doing here? Let's see, where did I put potion? It is adventure quest and equipment. Yeah. So I think in addition to an iUsable, we want like an iThrowable type. So if we have which is gonna be a subclass of iUsable, so it's gonna show up as a usable thing. But if it's throwable, that means it will target the enemy when it's used. So our throwable, in addition to its use, we're going to have sort of a throw attached to it as well. And throw will take in not only the user, but the target. So I think I'm going to start there with the idea of a throwable. iThrowable. And namespace adventure quest dot equipment and public interface iThrowable requires it is an iUsable as well, but it's going to have an additional ability to throw. So there's going to be a throw option on it. And throw is going to accept a second parameter. All right, so this, I'm surprised that, hello? Can you syntax highlight better? There we go. Shubham Singh over on YouTube says, hello Shubham. Let me know if I'm pronouncing your name incorrectly. I apologize if I'm pronouncing it incorrectly, but welcome aboard. Happy to have you here. Happy Friday. Let's see here. How are you doing, Shubham? What brings you What brings you to Captain Coder's Academy this morning? Public and in usable. We have a string. All right, it's public string throw, and it is going to take in an iCombatant user and an iCombatant target, like that. And then a firebomb, public, and really probably should just be a bomb here. Class, maybe it makes sense here to do a throwable folder. Move iThrowable in there with it. Shubham says they are doing well. I'm glad to hear you're doing well. Shubham says, sorry for I am not attending this yet, but I will come back as I don't have time to see. No worries, Shubham. You're always welcome aboard anytime. You're welcome back anytime. Happy to have you. But have a beautiful day, my friend. And don't hesitate to check out previous recordings. Got everything up to this point in a live stream. I throw a bull throw firebomb. I think it should just be bomb, and then there'll be like different types of bombs. All right, so we'll do public class bomb is an I throwable. Bonk, an I bomb. Okay. And to be a throwable, let's get this to compile for us. It's going to yell at us real quick. Unity's going to compile, and it's going to tell us that we're not implementing these things. Let's add them in. So interfaces are basically a contract in the programming language. In the compiler, it says, you can use any type of iThrowable anywhere as long as you agree to implement this interface to tell me how it should act. All right, so we're going to come back. And there we go. Happy to compile that time. And it is going to be a consumable. So true, it's going to get consumed. What did I do for potion? Health potion. We don't have a sprite ID yet. I haven't had to render it, so we're going to leave that as a not implemented. The name we are going to get from the constructor. So we'll be able to specify the type of bomb it is. And so let's add in a constructor. Public bomb string type. String name. Do that. And so we could do the following. We'll do name equals name. So we can create different types of bombs. We'll have fire bombs, ice bombs, water bombs, whatever type of bomb you want. A bomby bomb. All right, but we can set the name property there. Description. Let's get OpenAI to generate a description for us. One moment. Let me get that open up. And have OpenAI generate a description for us. It's always fun. Just a moment, please. Yeah, Dramolx, I just received an invite. I just got access to Leonardo AI, which is pretty awesome. I just gotta do my two-factor authentication here. And get OpenAI here. Quick start playground. All right. We are gonna generate ourselves a description. Write a 2-sentence description of a throwable bomb item for a text for a role-playing adventure game. All right, let's get it. This bomb is a small round device with a bright red fuse. Once thrown, it will explode, dealing a moderate amount of damage to any enemies in the vicinity. Beautiful. Beautiful description. Toss that in here. All right. Cost of a bomb. Gramulks. Oh, working man, have a wonderful day, my friend. Have a wonderful day. We'll see you next time. We're going to say bombs cost 10 gold. Very, very simple. JSON is just going to be Unity engine.json utility.toJSON. It's the default behavior. I feel like I should put that as a default behavior in the super class. But I'm noticing I'm putting this in many places. Duplicate is just going to be new bomb with the name passed in. Okay. Throw, use, and use is just going to return a string that says or name must be thrown. All right. So to use it, you have to throw it. So it's going to say that you need a target. Okay. But if we throw it, it's going to do some damage. So we'll have an ability roll attached to the bomb. So private, static, read only, ability roll, damage. That's damage. Let's import ability roll here from our dice module. And it's going to be an ability roll.parse, and it's going to do a 1d6 damage. Just guaranteed 1d6. And the result is going to be that the target dot trait dot hip dot get trait dot health dot value is going to be subtracted by the result damage. So not S damage. We're going to create a variable called damage here. So bomb, basically the idea is the bomb always deals damage. Unavoidable damage, just small amounts though. So they're pretty useful. It's potentially pretty useful. This is just an idea I'm having. But bombs are hard to dodge. Maybe we'll have some sort of feature in that you can dodge bombs. We're going to say that you can't dodge bombs. They have a big explosion radius, easy to hit the enemy, can't miss them. So int damage is equal to the S damage roll. So we're just going to roll. And we're not taking into an ability. So instead, let's make this an iRollable. That's still not, that's part of just dice. And this is going to be a dice pool, 1d6. All right. So we roll it, and our message is going to be that user.name lobs a name, and then we'll do a new line, lobs a thing. The name explodes, dealing damage to target.name. Okay, so-and-so lobs a bomb. The bomb explodes, dealing some amount of damage to the target's name. Okay, let's give it a shot. Should build okay, I think. Here we need to make it so we can. All right, so we're gonna have to actually give this item to the user, and then what we have to do is we have to do something different when they select the item. If it's a throwable, the user has to throw the item, and we're gonna select the enemy. So in our character controller, we're going to add a new bomb, firebomb, to the character's inventory. And we can't just use it. It's going to tell us we can't use it. Must be thrown. And instead, in our combat controller, if we select an item, we need to first select if it's, we need to check if item is a throwable. If the item's a throwable, we're going to do something different than if it's just a usable. So we have to check if it's a throwable first. And in this case, in our player agent, we're going to have a throw manager.playeragent .throw item. And it's going to take in our throwable like that. So let's see if we can generate the throw method. All right, throw item. And all right, so this can just be propagated here like this. And then throw item. And it should be throw item from inventory. Let's rename that real quick. Throw item from inventory. So we want to remove it from the inventory if it is consumable. So it's kind of like this. It's gonna work kind of like this. And I'm noticing a code smell. Notice I'm just did a copy and paste. So there's some level of abstraction I could potentially do. But it might make sense. Player cannot throw this because it is not in their inventory. This becomes select action, new use item action, and the user. Oh, this is interesting. I need like a throw item action. Either that or a use item needs to have something different. So use item action. Item.use target. Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. Because it's getting used on the enemy. Oh, so the way I've done my bomb. Like this. This should be our target. So use. All right, so when we throw. Oh. I gotta think this through. Must be thrown. So I might need to have a throw item action. So throw item should take two things and call the throw. But if I'm following this pattern, I could use item action. And the use item becomes user target. Is this what I want? Is this what I want? I think I want a throw item to make it more explicit. So let's do this. Throw item action. This is a throw item action. And performing is actually the same as no longer an I usable, it should be an I throwable. should be an I throwable. Get this to build real quick. Probably have some compilation errors. Okay. Reopen that. Performing the action is the item dot throw user target. So we throw it. So we have a throw item action. And this throws, this invokes the throw method on that usable. So it's, all right, so then in our player agent, this is the same as selecting the action, a new throw item action. This makes sense, I think, to me, of the player and then the manager dot enemy. And I think this should actually take in an iCombatant target. All right, so it's going to take in the iCombatant target. And then the item to throw is the throwable. Okay. And then in our combat manager, not our combat manager, in our combat controller. Our combat controller, for now, we're going to say, okay, well, this is just going to be the enemy. When we click throw, when we select, it's going to be there. Potentially, we could have combat where you have multiple enemies and you select the item, then you select what you're going to do, and then that forwards it off to use item from inventory. Yes. So if it's a throwable, we're going to throw it. Is this going to work? Is this... Let's see if we're happy here. Check it out. Can I throw a firebomb? Chica, Bizloric lobs a firebomb. The firebomb explodes, dealing 4 damage to the Dark Knight. And I no longer have that in my inventory. All right. All right, we've set up, we made a lot of, look how much progress we made. That's exciting. We built this, so it felt like we weren't making a ton of progress, but we've gone through developing sort of a framework to do a lot of these things, and now adding them in feels relatively comfortable. There's not a whole lot we have to do. There's a little bit of thinking, but it's sort of like, oh, well, we have a player agent, that's the thing. So we've isolated each one of these chunks, and now it's pretty straightforward to add these in. So I'm really, really happy with that. Yeah, I was not expecting to get so far. I finished all of my goals. I finished all my goals, including my bonus goal. I knew I was going to be, my goals were going to be less quote unquote expensive, less time consuming today because I have to end on time today. But I was not expecting to be able to so easily add in the throw there. So I'm really, really happy with that. Awesome. All right, let's get a commit in. Let's save our combat scene. It's not saved, but we'll save our combat scene. We're gonna do a commit here. We can now throw things. So we sort of need to do the next thing to do is going to be add in sort of like a victory condition to our combat or a lose condition to our combat, and give some kind of loot. So defeating an enemy should generate loot. Need to randomly generate an enemy when you go looking for trouble. But we've made significant progress here. So I'm really, really happy about that. Let's check and see what our commit entails this time. So character controller. All we did was give the player a bomb at the start so we could test that out. We added this check here on selecting which method to use. We added a throwable item action. we added a, let's clear up some of this, a throw item from inventory. Format this. Use item from inventory and use item. Okay, that seems okay. Then bomb. Create a new class. Let's, a lot of white space here. We don't need this one here. Format that. Roxauf, welcome aboard, my friend. Happy Friday. Nice of you to come in, drop in. It's nice to meet you. If you are just hopping in, we just finished adding throwables and inventory use to our combat system, which was really nice. But hello, nice to see you. We are working on a text-based adventure in Unity that has a... So I say it's text-based. The whole thing is text-based, but it happens to have some visualizations going on with it. All right, we just finished this feature here. Feature, implement throwables for combat actions. All right. Oh, I didn't actually add anything to this command. I'm gonna add those in. But welcome aboard. So if you're new here, don't hesitate to ask questions. I welcome backseat coding or attempts at backseat coding, because we're all in this together to learn how to build this out. All right, so we finished that. Let's cross it off our list here. I'm really happy we got that finished. So I gotta think, what do we want to do next? We have about 30 minutes left before I gotta hop off. Got 30 minutes left in the stream, 30 to 40 minutes, 30 to 45 minutes is what I should say. But I'm really happy there. So we just crossed that off our list. Yeah, we made it. So I think the next thing really that I would like to add is sort of detecting the end of combat, right? So we need sort of end of combat conditions. And the condition is either you die or the enemy dies. Those are sort of the two things that happen. If you run out of life, you die. If the enemy runs out of life, it's not over, right? So if one of you runs out of life, there's sort of this result that happens. So I think that should be in our combat manager. All right, and so when we process around, we need to check, in addition to checking if combat is over, there's like additional conditions that we should check as well. So I'm going to add in a little helper method here that says private bool check end of combat. All right, and this is going to take in a combat result like this. It's going to take in the combat result. Throw axe at dwarf. Smabs wants us to throw an axe at a dwarf, I think. So we're going to take in the result. Tick result. If combat's not over. Yeah, so we're going to check. Having a throwback. I'm not sure what is it a throwback to. I'm curious. We're going to check into combat results. All right. And so this is going to say, first off, we're going to check if the action we took says combat was over, then we're going to return true. Otherwise, we want to check. Oh, from Colossal Cave. Gotcha. Thank you so much. Thank you for the refresher. I was a little bit confused there. Yeah, a little bit of a throwback to the mention this morning, which is a throwback to long ago. Colossal Cave. Gotcha. Thank you for the reference. I hope someone else in the chat was smarter than me and got the reference, but thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing. So if the result says combat's over, combat is over. Otherwise, we have to check if any of the combatants are dead, right? So in this case, we just sort of have two, the player. So if player, is it player agent? No, just player. Player dot trait dot get trait dot health is less than or equal to 0. Then the player dies, so we're going to return true. This also should probably return. What's interesting here is it should return a combat result for the end. Oh, this is interesting. I need to. We actually don't have to return a combat result. Instead, we can do an on change, right? So we can report the result on change dot invoke. The player has died. All right, so we're gonna have a combat result. Player death equals a new result, and then player death is combat. Add player dot name as dies. All right. And we're going to send that up to player death. Player death dot is combat over is true. And then we return true. Smap says, when I first played it, it was on a PDP via teletype. Pretty sure I still have some of the printer rolls of playing it. That's amazing. That's amazing. And then G says, oh my God, I'd throw a dwarf at axe. Yeah, so I remember it being an epic game at the time. Such a classic epic game for the time. Nothing like it. Very few things like it existed. All right, then we'll say if the enemy got traits. Oh, we got to do a value here. If enemy dot traits dot get trait dot health dot value is less than or equal to 0. We also are going to say that why isn't initialization can be simplified? So it wants me to do it this way. It wants me to say that is combat over equals true. With no semicolon. G, take care, my friend. Have a good rest. Thank you for popping in. It's always a wonderful time to chat with you. I'm glad you're feeling at least a little bit better. I hope your leg continues to heal, and looking forward to chatting with you some more. As always, keep coding, keep growing, and you're welcome back anytime. Let's see here. So the player death here. And then we have the combat results, enemy death. Be a new. This one's also is combat over. True. You gotta put parentheses on the constructor, which makes sense. And the enemy death should be enemy.name dies. All right, and then we'll pass it over on change.invoke. There's something a little bit more I need to do here in this regard, because right now our combat, I think, is just going to end, and it's not going to bring up like an end of combat scene. So I think we need to have a subclass of combat result, one that is a combat victory and one that is a combat defeat. One of those two things. So if you're defeated, it needs to sort of say like game over or something, and when you wake up again in town. But we'll need to be able to do something about that. Whereas if it's a victory, it should contain like, what loot did you get? What was the result? Did you gain experience? That sort of thing. But we're gonna check the end of combat. So I think this will make it so that at the very least, we won't be able to keep attacking, and we'll get a message saying that combat is over. Let's give it a shot. Load this up. Do an attack. Do another attack. Let's see, does it say that the Dark Knight dies? Now it just said, okay, so it does have a thing pop up, but it says you escaped. That's pretty funny. Alternatively, let's give ourselves a really strong enemy that can just stomp us into the ground a bit. So let's make a new enemy here. We're gonna make a big enemy that's gonna just totally wreck us. All right. Ogre of Doom. All right, we're gonna have an Ogre of Doom. All right, and we'll have it be Bob. Let's go look at our. Have it be a straw man of Doom. All right, rather than an Ogre of Doom, it's gonna be straw man of Doom. Straw man of Doom, like that. What our picture? Big Baller. Hello, welcome aboard. Happy Friday. It's nice to see you again. How are you doing? How have you been? Right. Database portrait database. Oh, we don't have Bob in there yet. Let's add in a component here. This should be our straw man. All right, and then if we go into our sprites, I'm doing fantastic. Thank you for asking. We managed to meet all of our goals today, which was such a fun thing. I don't normally hit them all, but we hit all of our goals today. So we added in an inventory to our combat scene. You can use items from your inventory. You can throw items from your inventory. And then we also managed to get our bonus, which was the throwing items. Yeah, so we added consumables, throwables. So that was cool. That was super cool. Now we are in the process. So I wasn't planning on getting here today, but now we're exploring, checking the end of combat. All right. So I'm going to add, right now, only one portrait on this guy. We're going to add in a character who has really high ability to hit us. So I'm going to give them a major damage roll. So it's going to be like 10d12. So it's going to just crush us when they hit us. And then we want to, am I able to set their abilities? Did we add that in there? Abilities. Yeah. So we're gonna give them some crazy abilities. Abilities dot builder dot real quick. We gotta give them a ton of new. And then we're gonna set score for their dexterity. Ability dot dexterity. We're gonna max it out. And then build that. So they're gonna have major dexterity, so it's gonna be hard for them to miss. They'll be able to hit us more often, and then just crush us. And my goal is to see, can we get it to say that the player dies? And hopefully that will be the case. In my combat scene, I need to enemy controller. Where are we setting enemy? Combat manager. I don't think it's here in our combat controller. Right now, the enemy just gets initialized when we wake up. I think it's on our enemy controller. Combatant controller. Nope. Combatant renderer. Where is that getting set? I can find it here. We have one reference. in our combat, observable combat. That makes sense. All right, so instead we are going to make this be our straw man of doom. We're going to build a straw man of doom. So it should start up, say straw man of doom, and the straw man of doom should be able to kill us in one hit pretty easily. That's a great question, Big Baller. I feel like we're getting close to having a thing. To having like a framework that I'm happy to share with to like finish turning into a project. So that's a really good question. We're gonna see here. There we go. We got killed. Strawman Chica the Zork took 80 damage. Chica the Zork dies. All right, so we didn't escape. We died. All right, so we can kill the enemy. The enemy can kill us. So what is left? What all do I want it to be able to do? All right, so we're actually almost done with this. Probably finish it this weekend. The one thing that's missing, essentially the combat was the last little thing we wanted to add in. So right now, enemies aren't randomly generated. So we want to be able to randomly generate enemies. When you go looking for trouble, randomly generate them. I would like to maybe add sort of 2 locations to look for monsters. So something like a forest, which is like easier monsters, and then like a cave where you have harder monsters. So having set up a location where you can visit and that has like a set of monsters that can be generated from. We have an item shop set up. So all that we really need to do is add in a weapon shop, an item shop, and an armor shop. So right now we just have Wilfred's weapons, but that shouldn't be too hard to add. Looking for trouble, going different places to look for trouble. Oh, a loot system. So when you defeat an enemy, they need to be able to give you rewards for defeating them. So we're pretty close. We're pretty close to having the prototype finished and being able to use it to write the rest of our project description. So we're getting close. I would say, I don't want to underestimate how much longer it's going to take, but I think 2 or 3 more days. 2 or 3 more days, and we'll be finished with the prototype. And then it's about massaging and going back. I haven't generated any graphics yet for item. No, I did not generate graphics items. I do have some items for them, but those were taken from open game art. All right, so we do have, our equipment. Well, that was disappointing. Our filter here is on. Hang on, that's funny. In our status screen, I got to turn that filter off. We do have items. Hang on. Character inventory. Our inventory shouldn't have this filter. Filter usable items. Oh, wow. We've added a bug. We can't see. Hang on. Inventory renderer. If there are no filters. Okay. All right. So if we're going to say if predicates.count. Hang on. Oh, this is interesting. This should start out as all of the items. And then we remove them. Oh, there's a remove all? Oh. Okay, I like this. I just discovered a new thing. Items.remove all. And there's a predicate. Oh, I didn't know there was a predicate type. Pred. And a predicate type item should just go to pred.invoke item. Okay, so we start out with all of them, and then we slowly remove all of them. Let's see if this fixes that issue. It's a much simpler version. I did not know that there was already a predicate type in C#. Let's check it out. Yeah, so now we see these things in our inventory. We can remove them like that. There's some sort of empty item in there. Sweet. All right. My inventory has some item, some magic. Oh, is this my bomb? This must be my bomb. Something's gone wrong with the name for the bomb. Oh, I'm not serializing the name. My bomb's name isn't getting serialized. Okay, so bomb. This should get private set. All right, so my bomb has a little bit of a bug there. And I need to add in that we want that to be serialized. The stealth bomb. That's right. Serialized field. All right, so we got to save the name. All right, it's not gonna fix it, but yeah, we have Big Baller. We got a drag and drop equipment system over here, which I'm pretty happy that we got that in there. I'm actually I've had so much fun doing this. So there is a game jam in April, first week in April. Let's see, Dungeon Crawler Game Jam 2023. This game jam that I'm super excited about. So this is first week in April, and it's about creating, you know, a classic grid-based dungeon crawler. I think I'm going to use. So I asked, is it okay? One of the things they said, you're allowed to work on your engine ahead of time. You just can't make your like game itself. I'm planning to use sort of the system I've built here as sort of the core. So what I want to do as is take everything I've made for this RPG prototype that is not Unity specific and extract it out into an assembly and use that as sort of like the character system in my submission for that game jam, and be able to use, and then also take sort of the renderer components of it and use this stuff as part of the game jam. So I'm pretty excited that this all seems to be working nicely in that regard. But yeah, we got some items here. Really need to just go into and flesh it out a little bit more as far as like adding a couple shops, different sets of items, adding in equipment and stuff that you can gain. There's no leveling up right now, so we might add in like an experience amount as well. Not 100% sure what all we're gonna do, but I'm gonna try and finish this up this week and then move on to my Skyroads clone. That's gonna be the third project. But thank you so much for asking. Thank you so much for asking. All right. I think, what did I just do? What were the changes I was making? Oh, I was just checking to make sure the player could die. All right, so I think I'm gonna wrap up here. I'm gonna do a commit. I'm gonna do a sign off, and then I gotta get ready for work. But it's all our scene stuff's changed. Let's make sure my filter still works on the. Combat scene. I gotta learn how to write tests for. So you can. Oh, I got killed. I had 0 health. I'm not. Well, that's hilarious. I'm already dead. All right. I'm dead. Perfect. Oh, I wanted to check that my inventory still worked. I didn't even check when I was. Inventory. Yeah, inventory still works. No, it doesn't. Inventory does not work. Because it's not showing. I have, all right, so my inventory, if it's the opposite. Remove things that do not meet our predicates. Yeah, so if it doesn't meet the predicate, we remove it. There we go. So we only keep the things. There we go. So now we have our health potion and our firebomb. So we can heal and then get killed. Oh, I dodged the attack. Quick, firebomb. Oh, Strawman of Doom. I took 69 damage. I am escaped. Okay. Let's get that commit in. Let's look at all the changes we made, and then we're gonna do a sign off. We added in, we moved our filter to our inventory. We made our bomb serialize the name. We added in a Strawman of Doom. We added it, that's what we were doing, checking for end of combat. That's the real feature. All right, so the real feature is feature, implement, work in progress. Implement first draft of end of combat check. All right, and then sort of next time we have to make two subclasses or do something to say, okay, well, is it a victory or a defeat when the combat's over? Is it a victory, defeat? We currently have like the flee option, but we also need to check for victory, defeat, and display something there, give rewards. So we're gonna work on our reward system tomorrow, I believe. But let's go ahead and stage all this stuff, commit it in, and push, do a sign off. Super happy today. Super happy today. Anyone who's not yet on the Discord, feel free to join the Discord. You can ask me questions. It's a fun little community we're building up. No pressure to join the Discord, but would love to have you aboard. Love to have you there, but we're gonna sign off. We actually finished out all of these things. Completed. 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 We even completed our bonus. And then we also began to explore MMO Pug. Thank you so much for the follow. Happy Friday. Welcome aboard. If it's your first time here, just know that I do enjoy when people try to backseat code a little bit. I love hearing ideas. I'm trying to grow and get better. So you're always welcome to ask questions. As long as you're not purposely trying to bamboozle me, I'm happy. But you can try and boozle me. Began to explore. Awesome, Smab. Nice work. Nice work. What was your bonus? What was your bonus, Smab? Because I know you were working on your key list, but what was the bonus part of that? Began to explore end of combat checks. There we go. All right, so we did finish that there. I'm really, really happy with that. All right. MMO Pug, happy to have you here. Loving some Clayman stuff for sure. No, I'm loving all of Clayman stuff. You're not should definitely be following Clayman as well. Highlight the dice not in the main block as errors. I like that. Okay, so if you're here, you've made it to the end of the stream. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you hanging out, making this a lovely morning for me. So as a little thank you to you, you've made it to the end. So I'm gonna go ahead and give everyone here 50 beautiful points that you can use in the store. At some point. The store will be closing momentarily. There's nothing super affordable in there just yet. Need quite a few points to get anything. I don't think anyone can actually afford anything yet. Maybe there's a couple things you can afford. As my little thank you to the followers, to people following me, I've put together a little Stream Element store. If you're hanging out, you collect points. I have a bunch of stuff in my Humble Bundle that I'm not using, so I got some games that I'm giving away. You can redeem those. There's also a C# bundle, Learn Unity. If you're trying to learn Unity, you got a little Learn Unity bundle. And then there's some, if you want to check out some of my board games, you can do so. If you want to meet my dog, you can do so as well. But just for hanging out with me, giving you some bonus points. So thank you so much, Evan, for hanging out. I'm going to sign off here. We're going to find someone to raid. Let's go see who's around. Let's go see who's around here. Smab already has the bundle, working his way through it. Good, good. How is it? How's the bundle? How's the bundle? Let's do a browse here. Software. Not built by tag. How do I? Software. Why can't? What's going on? What's going on? Software and game development. There we go. All right. I think I want to stick to Unity. A Unity stream. Game dev stream. Let's see. Who do we want to go see? Any suggestions? Let's see if anyone I know is on. One sec. Let's check this out. Looks really good. I'm glad to hear it. Oh, let's go over to Moonniz. ITC, I'm so sorry you missed it. But while you're here, let's give you a shout out. ITC Studios. Everyone, real quick, if you're lurking, come on back to the chat. Look at that text. See that little heart there at the top? See the little heart? Go ahead and click that heart. You don't want to break ITC's heart. You want to click that. You want to give them some love. ITC's a fantastic artist, game developer. Go check him out. One of my favorite streams. Doing some awesome stuff. Beautiful, beautiful pixel art right now. I'm not sure if ITC does more than that, but definitely go check them out. They're awesome. But yeah, we're wrapping up here. We're gonna go raid Moonniz. Moonniz is one of the fabulous people that hangs out here a lot, but we're gonna go raid Moonniz. But thank you everyone so much for hanging out. As always, keep coding, keep growing, keep working on yourself. I'm happy to have had you all here, but thanks for hanging out. Have a beautiful day, and we'll catch you next time.